Hey, every once in a while I run into a good movie, and today I found one. It is called Unnatural. It's about a mutant polar bear. And this takes place up in Alaska. You had me at mutant polar bear. I would have loved this movie no matter what. Anyway, it takes place in a hunting lodge up in Alaska. A photographer and a couple models have come up. They're going to do a photo shoot in the ice and stuff like that. Of course, there's no cell reception, no internet, and the shortwave radio isn't working. But nobody cares. Film opens up at a research lab in Alaska where they find out that this killer polar bear has gotten out and has killed everybody. One of the doctors is able to drive off, but while fudging with her GPS, crashes the truck. Women drivers. She then wanders off to get help. Cut back to the hunting cabin. Everybody shows up. They're going to do the photo shoot. They're enjoying the sun. What little of it. Apparently it's like 4 hours of daylight. And one of the models is attacked by a polar bear. Now they don't know it's a polar bear because there are no polar bears up in this part of Alaska. Long story short, the polar bear has been spliced with DNA from wolves and a couple other animals. And it really becomes, it's hunting them, basically. After it attacks them at the photo shoot, it tracks them back to the cabin, and it really becomes a one-on-one fight. I really liked it. They do what Jaws did. It's where they really don't show the polar bear all at once up front. They show a little bit here, a little bit there, so you wonder about it. And then towards the end of the movie, that you get the full picture of the polar bear. Very bloody. A lot of people die. And a great cast. James Remar is in it. One of my favorite actors. I love everything he's in. Ever since I saw him in 48 Hours, I love James Remar. Ray Wise is in it, and Sherilyn Fenn. Now, Ray Wise is only in it for a couple of commercial scenes for the corporation. And Sherilyn Fenn is the evil doctor who's been doing the genetic splicing. And it's cool because if you follow Twin Peaks, you know that they were in that together. And I love Sherilyn Fenn. Return to Two Moon Junction. I'm sorry, Two Moon Junction. She wasn't in Return to Two Moon Junction, but she's awesome. They don't have a lot of scenes together. They have one scene at the end together, but so I love this movie. I'm going to really recommend it. I hope you see it. It's one of the After Dark films this year. Really check it out. Now, if you want to know the ending, I'm going to spoil it. So Sherilyn Fenn, yeah, is the one who's been doing this polar bear. She kind of hides that fact when she meets up with the lodge. She's actually found by James Remar and brought back to the cabin. Everybody who's been in an episode of Longmire apparently is in this movie because, like, 3 of them, I tracked 3 of them through IMDb back to Longmire episodes. Anyway, there's James Remar. He heads the lodge. He's got this young girl who's in his assistant. Graham Greene is in it as a kind of a friend. And then there's another guy who works as like the chef and the guide. Then you have 2 models and the photographer. That's your cast right there. So it's a small cast, and everybody dies. Except Sherilyn Fenn, but I'm going to get to that. Okay. So it kills one of the models at the photo shoot. The other model and the photographer take off in the snowmobile. The guide stays there to try to hunt it. And it really doesn't go very well because he gets killed. James Remar goes out after him. Finds the other snowmobile. There's an ice auger they're using for the photo shoot that's still out there. He finds the guy's dead body, and then he runs into Sherilyn Fenn, who's been wandering around in the cold. So he takes her back to the cabin. He finds out she's working for this one corporation, and he decides, I'm going to go and make a phone call in the morning. Graham Greene shows up and says something's been eating his tracks. Sherilyn Fenn lets it slip that she ran into a polar bear. Now, she lies and says it was a rogue polar bear. Global warming was making it come down. It's a whole bullshit story. But they believe her at first. Except for James Remar, he knows she's lying. So in the morning, plan is he's going to go out to the ridge with the satellite phone and call for help. And they're all going to stay in the cabin and wait for the plane. He goes out there, but he gets attacked by the bear. He gets really badly wounded. Then the bear makes it back to the cabin. Long story short, the bear starts killing everybody in the cabin, one at one. A couple of people make it out to the truck. They drive off, but they crash, of course. Bear kills the photographer, but the photographer is able to set the thing on fire and blow up. Does not kill the polar bear, though. Anyway, Sherilyn Fenn is all that's left. She's about to get killed by the polar bear when James Remar shows up on a snowmobile with an ice auger in front, and he basically rams the polar bear and kills it. That really wouldn't work because ice augers have a little safety ring on the end of it, but whatever, it works. So he kills the polar bear, and he dies from his wounds. And he tells her on his deathbed, "Stop. You don't know what you're doing with these animals." And she says, "Yes, I know." And the ending scene is a commercial where she's arm in arm with the head of the corporation talking about what they're going to do to help save these species. So it's kind of implied that she's not going to stop. Love this movie. Love it to death. Had a lot of fun. Like I said, reminds me a lot of Jaws. I love killer bear movies. Grizzly is like one of my favorite Jaws ripoffs. And I really like how they did this one too. You don't see a lot of the polar bear. What's really cool is apparently they splice it with wolf DNA. So the bear is very quiet and it stalks its prey. And it starts stalking the cabin. It was really great. I had a lot of likable characters into it. Even the photographer, who's considered to be kind of a jerk for the entire movie, in the end, he kind of redeems himself by sacrificing himself to blow up the truck. So that was really cool too. James Remar, love everything he was in. He was awesome in it. I can't say enough good things about this movie. I think you really should check it out. So that was Unnatural. It just came out, and I think you should check it out. Let me know how you feel in the comments below. Thanks for watching.